The last time on Pete and his bus. Anybody who builds or creates something can usually roughly estimate the time and the cost involved. But for those of you, and like me, that work on old things, like old houses or old cars or old boats even, that time frame and cost is almost impossible to predict, because there is always the great fear of the unknown. If I remove this piece, what do I find? Well, my bus has been exactly that this time on Pete and his bus. Welcome to another episode of Pete and his Bus. Today we are going to start slightly differently, and I'm going to do so by answering a question. Now, just before I get to the question itself, you must never be afraid to ask questions. If you ask a question and the person you ask it to gives you like a, oh God, don't you know that? Then you should punch them square in the face. Because the only way you learn is by asking questions. I didn't go to engineering college, I didn't study mechanics, I just asked questions, observed, and then practiced. The question I got asked recently was, what is that accordion thing you're constantly waving about? It is called a riveter. The reason why we use a riveter is what I'm going to explain to you right now. I've made a bit of a demonstration piece and it's very crude, so bear with me. But let's say this is an upright on the bus. And at the bottom here you can see that I have attached it to this piece of wood with a nut and a bolt. And the reason why I've been able to do that, because I've been able to get behind it to attach the nut. Now what if I wanted to attach this piece of metal to the bus, but I couldn't get behind it to attach the nut? That is where a rivet comes in. The only tools and materials you need to attach a rivet is the rivet itself, a drill bit, which is the same thickness as the thick part of the rivet, a drill, and a riveter. We take our accordion device. At this point, the riveter will pull the pin out of the rivet, and by doing so, it'll squash the thicker part of the rivet. And this squashing action is what holds the bus and the panel together. When the correct tension is achieved, the pin drops off, and all you've got left is your rivet in place, securing both elements. There. And the rest of the rivet falls out of the bottom of our riveter, and the result is we now have a piece of alley which is properly attached to the beam behind, but I never had to go behind the beam to access it. The moral of this story is don't ever be afraid to ask questions. I asked a shed load of questions when I was younger, and that is why I am now having fun playing with my bus. Also, I've learned this song, it's really good.
area above the bonnet still has to be prepped. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't even going to film this because I thought it'd be a quick sand and a bit of etch and we'd be done. But it turned out that this whole section of the bus is in a really bad state, and actually even worse than I thought. So it ended up being a massive job. Well, I guess you'll just have to wait and see.
Well, hello there, my bus-loving people. I'm having a really crap day. The bus is fighting me on this last corner. I should be painting by now, but when you work with old vehicles, you sometimes run into stuff that you weren't anticipating, and you've just got to get on and sort it out, and that's what I'm doing right now. The front above the bonnet is very, very corroded and beaten up, and it's been painted 1,000 times over. It's all the paint's hanging off, and I'm trying to work on it, but it's such a tricky section to get to because I've got to sit on top of the bonnet, and I'm 6'6", so you can imagine me being cramped in that space there trying to work above is not good. You end up with a face full of sand dust. So I'm fighting it. I've decided to remove this panel, which of course is stuck, and once I get it off, I can actually prep it properly, stick it back up there, and then spray it in situ. Bear with me, we will actually paint this bus one day, believe it or not. Believe it or not. That took a lot longer than I thought. So the panels are sorted. I'm now going to whip them back in there, and as soon as they're in, that corner is done and we can get on with this flipping paint job. need to check the water pipe situation in my bus. Oh yeah! Okay, I'm done checking it now. Let's close it up.
Be at one with the masking tape.
I'm ready. Minus the driver's door, because that's currently out, there are 55 bits of glass in this bus that need masking up. Now, masking is actually very easy, but if you do this amount, you've got to try and stay focused, because the last one has got to be as good as the first one you do. Wish me luck, here we go. Well, that only took 17 minutes, so here's the other 54. Yeah, but that's why, I've been feeling so emotionally insecure lately. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I mean?
Hey, man, I don't care about your stupid problem! You stupid!
Anyway, thanks so much for the chat. I just love the fact that you understand exactly how I feel.
This is quite a special moment for me, because I think it's very difficult to quantify how much time, energy and work has gone into this flippin' bus. But I can comfortably say that she is ready for some color.
It is actually a very exciting time to be part of Pete and his bus. Well, I say that, but then I would say that, wouldn't I? Anyway, the paint has arrived, as most of you will know, and I've been given two different varieties. One of them is this high build primer, and the other one is, of course, the ever famous London Red. But the last time I painted a bus, the primer was actually pink, and it even made the local newspaper because people thought I had lost the plot by painting my bus in a dirty old pink. Of course, that wasn't true, that was just the first coat. But the new primer is called Mid Red, and I have no idea what colour this is, So let's find out. Ooh! And now for the actual London red. Oh.
It is at this point in time that I realize it's very difficult to see the difference between these two colors on camera, but trust me, there is a big one. So what I've done to show you, I've painted some on this board, I've let them dry, and lo and behold, it turns out mid-red is another word for pink.
The bus is ready for actual paint. I never thought I would actually say that, but it is ready. Now, before I start painting, I've actually got to move a bunch of things around in the barn because of course I don't want any overspray of the paint to land on the other bus or any of my other cars or anything in there. So there's quite a lot of arranging to do, but I've been going on about this paint job for such a long time, I figured I could not end this episode without doing at least a little bit of color. What I thought I'd do, I'd give you a small taster. I've taken the battery box off and we're gonna spray it up in that beautiful mid-red. Mid-red, not pink, mid-red. Check this out.
What I've done is I've built a bit of a paint booth in the barn. It's good to have it under cover because there's a lot of dust that falls around in here. Now the panel is pretty good. All it needs is a bit of actual panel wipe to clean off any grease or dirt. Now all I've got to do is load my paint gun up, and here comes the mid-red. Oh dear God, it is so pink!
Overall, I'm actually really happy with the finish, but there are quite a few dust particles which you probably can't see on camera, so I'm gonna have to prepare the area more before I spray. There is a slight run here, but it's ever so slight, and that'll just polish out. But yeah, generally, we are go for launch. Oh, by the way, Barbie phoned. She wants her bus back.
It turns out, as the paint dries properly, it's not quite as pink as I first thought. Anyway, one panel done, and now for the rest of the bus.
So there you have it. Our bus is going to be garish pink for at least a little while. But don't worry, I'm sure it'll be beautiful when I'm done with it. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook. And I will see you next time on Pete and his bus. Toodaloo.
Listen! Knock knock!
Who's there?
Boo!
Boo hoo?
There's no need to cry, it's only a joke!
Compo, you're such a